Take me home to the land of the Pecos. Near that stream, let dream neath the sky. This old heart keeps on beating, repeating fond echoes of the brave and the bold riding high.
During the 1870s, the wildest spot in the United States was the desolate Pecos River. Virtually beyond the reach of the authorities, the railroads, then pushing their way west, attracted the most vicious characters in the country. It was said that all civilization and law stopped at the east bank of the Pecos. It took one man, a lone storekeeper who was sick of the lawlessness, to change all this. His name was Judge Roy Bean.
Morning, Miss Benson. Morning, Harpin.
Hiya, Taggert.
Hello, Glenn.
Morning, Harpin.
Taggert, deliver this Charlie Maxwell's range for me, will you, please?
Right away?
Yeah, he's waiting for it. Take my horse if you want to.
I'll enjoy the ride.
Take a look at these, Benson. I'll see you in a minute.
Yeah.
Somebody get help. He's still alive.
Taggert robbed the bank, Marshal.
Go look. You'll find the money in his clothes.
Oh, Jeff! Jeff! Where's Jeff? Where's Jeff Taggert?
What's the trouble?
Gotta see Jeff. Bad news.
Well, here he comes now.
Jeff, your brother's been shot.
What?
How'd it happen? They claim he robbed the Del Rio Bank, $10,000. The marshal found the money in his pocket. He's still alive, but unconscious.
Where you going?
I'm going to see my brother.
Now, wait a minute, Jeff. Let's not hurry into this. Your brother's hurt, but he's in trouble, too. We may be the only ones that can help him out of it.
I don't care what they found on him. Glenn never stole anything in his life.
And Marshal count the money?
Yeah, $3,000.
You said 10,000.
Francis said Glenn'd been taking the money for weeks. He said Glenn probably hid the rest of it somewhere. It's a frame-up. They're just using Glenn to cover up for their own crookedness.
You been to Del Rio recently, Jeff?
No, not recently.
They got a new marshal over there. He wouldn't know you.
What are you getting at, Judge?
You could go over there on your own, circulate around a little, see what you can find out. Don't waste your time at the bank. Go down to the bar. That's where they do the most talking.
It's a good idea. I'll go by and tell my foreman I'm on my way.
And I wouldn't ride in there for direction Langtry if I was you.
I won't.
Appreciate that. Honey, I want you to pack a bag for me.
Yes.
All right, honey, you look after the store.
You're going over to Del Rio to help Jeff.
That's right. He may need somebody to back up his play.
Please be careful, Uncle Roy.
Hello, Marshal.
Mr. Benson?
How's your prisoner getting along, Marshal?
Well, he's still unconscious.
Uh-huh. What does the doctor have to say?
He gives him a 50-50 chance.
Yeah, well, that's good. Well, look who comes to Del Rio.
Who is it?
Judge Roy Bean.
It sure is. Excuse me, Mr. Benson.
Harvin, I don't like this.
You don't like what?
Judge Bean coming here.
What difference does it make? He's the law west of the Pecos. This is east of the Pecos. He has no jurisdiction in this town.
That doesn't make a bit of difference to Judge Bean. When he decides there's something to meddle in, he meddles.
So what can he find out?
I just wish you'd have made sure of Taggert, that's all.
I thought you were such a good shot. He won't live, and even if he does, it's his word against ours.
I want better odds than that. I wonder if we couldn't dig up another witness to tell what we wanted him to.
That shouldn't be such a problem. I think I can find somebody right here in town.
I still don't like it.
You worry too much. What you need is a drink.
Yeah, maybe so.
Well, Judge Bean, glad to see you, sir.
Hello, Marshal.
You don't know me very well, Judge, but I've always been an admirer of yours. I like the way you handle things. My name's McClintock.
Thank you very much, Marshal. I remember you, met you over at Carson Bend. Think they'll let me stay in your hotel here?
Why, sure. You gonna be in town for a while?
Yeah, maybe. Say, here you had a little shooting in town. Young fella named Taggert?
Yeah, that's right. Works at the bank, tried to get away with a lot of money. He's in real trouble, Judge. Probably get 10 years if he lives. So, we figured he's got the money hidden somewhere.
Who's we?
Mr. Benson at the bank and myself.
I see. Well, I guess I better get myself fixed up in the room. I may be here a day or two.
Sure, Judge. Tell him I said to make it comfortable.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Take one of those myself. Make it a double.
Here you had a shooting in town a while back.
What do you care? What does anybody care?
You sound kind of unhappy.
I am unhappy. The man they shot was a friend of mine. A good friend. Named Taggert. Now they're calling him a thief. A bandit.
You saying he isn't?
I worked with him. Right alongside. He couldn't have taken that money the way they said he did. Nobody could.
Were you there when they shot him?
But I helped pick him up. And he's hurt bad. Real bad.
Why are you so sure Taggert didn't take that money?
And what makes you so anxious to know, mister?
Just curiosity?
You're the most curious man I ever did see. And how did you get so spunky all of a sudden?
Now, look, Mr. Harbin. I just came in for a couple of drinks to sort of forget what happened to Glenn. Nothing wrong in that, is there?
You were pretty mouthy about it. When'd you get in town, mister?
A little while ago.
Have a long ride?
Long enough.
You don't seem to be very thirsty.
Is it bothering you?
Just don't like to see things go to waste.
It won't.
Come on outside, Carlton.
What for?
You were so anxious to talk. You can talk to me.
No, I'm staying here.
Come on outside.
Let him alone.
Back out of this, mister, before it's too late.
All right. Maybe that'll teach you to stay out of a conversation between two gentlemen.
Pretty fancy, aren't we? I'll be ready for you next time.
If you want to leave, I'll go with you.
Thanks.
I remember where I've seen him.
Yeah, where?
Langtry. And he's sure fast with a gun.
Are you sure of this?
Positive. He's Judge Bean's deputy. His name's Jeff Taggert.
Glenn Taggert's brother. I don't like this.
The best thing that could have happened to us. It'll cinch our case for us. Listen carefully. I've got an idea. Come on. Come in.
Judge, this is Mr. Carlton, who keeps books at the bank. He thinks Glenn is innocent.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, Mr. Carlton.
I've said too much about this thing. I should have kept my mouth shut.
Some man off the bar gave him a real bad time.
Who? Mr. Harbin, cashier of the bank, and he's a gun hand.
Well, if you're scared, you can stay around here. We'll be around.
Thanks a lot.
Sure. You just make yourself at home here. Lucky you ran into Carlson. As soon as he calms down, he may be some real help.
I hope so.
Well, let's look around town a little.
Hey, mister, this your horse?
That's right.
How much money do you make?
What do you mean by that?
What do you work at? What's your job?
I guess you might as well know, Marshal. I'm Judge Bean's deputy, Jeff Taggert.
I didn't see you come into town when the judge arrived.
Marshal seems kind of curious about me, Judge.
Something bothering you, Marshal?
Afraid there is. That's your horse, isn't it?
Evidently you weren't paying attention. I told you it was my horse.
Did you explain to me how this came into your possession?
I never saw it before.
How'd it get in your saddlebag?
Just a minute, Marshal. Why is this money so important?
This is part of the cash that was stolen from the bank.
I don't know anything about it.
He's telling the truth, Marshal.
You are Glenn Taggart's brother, aren't you?
That's right.
Judge, you got to see this from my angle. Glenn Taggart was shot trying to take money from the bank. A lot of the money's still missing. We don't know where it is. Some of it winds up in your deputy's possession. Your deputy just happens to be the brother of the prisoner.
Well, now, I'll admit it looks bad. But somebody rigged it that way. Jeff came into town, he asked a few questions. Somebody figured he'd cause trouble, and they planted that money. That's an old trick.
Well, I can't go on that. I've got to put him under arrest.
All right. He's under arrest. Now, you said you like me, you like the things I stand for. Why don't you just leave him in my custody?
Well, Mr. Benson won't like this. But I'll do it, Judge. He doesn't leave town till he stands trial. Agreed?
Agreed.
How about let me see my brother?
Oh, I'm sorry, Taggart. Under the circumstances, I don't think we better do it. I'll take your gun now.
I better get myself a lawyer.
You're looking at him. I'll be your counsel.
Then I'll quit worrying.
Well, we got plenty to worry about. When we moved into this case, we cut a stacked deck.
I think I'll go with the doctor and see him about Glenn.
Here, you go ahead. I'll go have a talk with Carlton.
Hank, drop this off at my office and then keep an eye on that young guy, huh?
I thought the marshal was supposed to make an arrest.
The marshal is a fool.
How's your brother?
Doc says as good as can be expected. Any luck with Carlton?
Oh, he's still scared, but he'll talk after a while.
You going somewhere?
Yeah, over at the bank. I've been waiting for you. I don't think we ought to leave Carlton alone.
I'll watch him, Judge.
Well, Judge Bean, this is an honor. Welcome to Del Rio.
First time I ever saw a bank clerk look like he could handle a gun. I hear he does real well with it, too.
Mr. Harbin is our cashier. You know, we sometimes have holdups. So what do we owe the honor of this visit, Judge?
That's a subpoena. You're both to be in my hotel room this afternoon, 2 o'clock.
What for?
I want to take your depositions on this Taggert case.
Judge, that's something that has to be decided by a judge. We have no judge here.
You ever hear of a term, pro tem, Benson? That means something that takes the place of something else for a while. Well, right now, I'm judge pro tem of Del Rio.
Who said so?
I said so. You better both be in my room this afternoon, 2 o'clock, or I'll swear out a warrant for you.
You didn't stay very long.
Long enough to serve them subpoenas.
Venus.
They order them to be here in my room at 2 o'clock.
What for? They won't talk.
I don't want him here to talk. I want him out of that bank so you and Carlton can seize the books.
I told you I had a good lawyer.
Come in.
Judge, I told you I might get in trouble about not putting your deputy in jail, didn't I?
Had trouble?
Mr. Benson's organized a citizens' meeting. Folks are still sore about losing their money. He worked up quite a feeling against you.
Yeah, I'll bet he makes a real good speech.
They're bringing in another judge for the trial.
They tell you what his name was?
Yes, sir. Judge Jethro Parks from Austin.
Oh, me.
You know him?
I know him all right. He's kind of a bad spot.
What do you mean?
There's one man in the state of Texas that don't like me and my way of doing things. It's Jethro Parks of Austin.
Order! 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 I'll have order in this court or I'll find everybody in contempt. Now, your conduct in this matter has been thoroughly reprehensible, Bean. You've assumed authority which doesn't belong to you. You've summoned witnesses before you for questioning when you had no right to do so, and you've seized records which you had no right to seize. Now, what have you to say about this?
I don't believe it's...
No, now, take your hat off in this court.
Excuse me, Your Honor. I don't think it's a prerogative of this court to define the limits of my authority.
The court will define the limits of your authority during this trial.
I'm just interested in seeing justice done.
Your brand of administering justice has never had my approval. The way you run your court in Langtry is a legal crime.
I don't believe I've ever heard that term before, Your Honor. Must be something new.
Are you trying to be humorous with me?
Oh, certainly not. Your Honor is known as one of the great judicial minds of the Southwest.
I detest flattery, Bean. It'll get you nowhere in this court. Now, I want those bank records brought in here tomorrow. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
You find that because of his condition, the defendant, Glenn Taggert, is unable to testify at this time, so we'll proceed with the case of his brother, Jeff Taggert.
But I object to that, Your Honor.
Objection overruled.
With Judge Parks. Until Glenn Taggert's proved guilty, how can there be a case against my client?
Well, they found the money.
Order! Order! Objection still overruled. Now as to the matter of the trial. The prosecution has already indicated it will accept the judgment of the bench. Now, what's your choice, Bean? Shall I render the verdict, or do you prefer a jury? Oh, come, Bean. Is it so hard to make up your mind?
Well, Your Honor, I kind of feel like the feller is caught between a she-bear with cubs and a hungry lion. They both might be mighty unreasonable.
Order. Will it be a jury trial, or shall I render the verdict?
We'll accept you as judge and jury, Your Honor.
So be it. The defendant goes to jail. Court recess till 10 a.m. tomorrow.
It might be a real good idea if you got yourself another lawyer.
I don't want another lawyer. The judge is honest, isn't he?
Oh, he's honest enough, all right. He just don't like me. That ain't going to help us any.
Jeff, I gotta put you in the cooler.
I'm ready.
Nothing wrong on this page, Judge. Can't find a thing. We still got several pages to go. Let's keep on till we get everything up to date. Bring everything right up to date. Yes, sir. It's morning, Judge, and I still haven't been able to find a thing wrong. You keep at it. Go over everything again if you have to.
Everybody rise. Township Court of Del Rio, Judge Jethro Parks presiding, now in session.
Be seated. Did you bring those bank books, Bean?
Your Honor, we'll have them here in a little while.
I told you to have them here now. You're in contempt of court. That'll cost you $50.
Yes, Your Honor. Sort of expected this.
Oh, did you now? Well, if those books aren't here inside of 30 minutes, you can expect 60 days in jail.
Yes, Your Honor.
Prosecution ready?
Yes, Your Honor. Marshal McClintock, take the stand.
You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Be seated.
Things real fancy here, don't they?
This was a few years ago. Order! Order. Order in the court. Your witness, prosecutor.
Marshal, is it true that you found over $500 cash money in the defendant's saddlebag on the 20th day of this month?
That's right.
When you questioned the defendant about this money, what did he say?
Said he didn't know how it got there.
Nothing else? Your witness.
Marshal, who tipped you off that this money might be in my client's saddlebags?
Mr. Benson.
Mr. Benson? The president of the bank? Well, how do you figure Mr. Benson knew this money was there?
I object. Testimony would be hearsay.
Objection sustained.
Did you find a gun on Glenn Taggert when he lay wounded in the street?
No, sir, I didn't. I just found...
Objection. Testimony is not relevant to this case.
Objection sustained.
Thank you, Mr. Benson. Your witness.
How's it going, Judge?
Carlton doesn't show up in them books pretty soon. We'll both be in jail.
Do you wish to examine the witness, Bean?
Yes, Your Honor.
Judge Bean. Ah, I see those books arrived just in time.
Your Honor, may we confer about the book? We may wish to present them as evidence.
Well, if you make it short.
Page 302. I made a note.
Oh, come, Bean. We can't wait all day.
Your Honor, I demand an immediate dismissal of the charges against both Glenn and Jeff Taggert.
What kind of a trick is this? He's not like...
And just what evidence do you have to back up this demand?
If it will please the court, you will look in Book 2 on the desk and turn to page 302.
Yes, and just what do you propose to prove by this?
I propose to prove that Mr. Benson and Mr. Harbin embezzled money from the bank and tried to frame Glenn Taggert for the theft.
Right, sir.
On that page, you'll find the listings for cash on hands for the 19th and 20th of this month, initialed by both Mr. Benson and Mr. Harbin.
Yes, I see.
You will note that on the 19th, a personal withdrawal was made by Mr. Benson for $3,000. That's the exact amount that Glenn Taggert was supposed to have taken. That left exactly $1,200.54 on the books. And the next day, this same amount was still on the books. And this is the day that Glenn Taggert was supposed to have taken the money from the bank. Now I ask the court, how could a man steal $3,000 from a bank when there wasn't that much cash on hand?
Right, sir. Good trick.
Pick up your hat.
You're both charged with embezzlement and attempted murder. Lock them up, Marshal.
Come on, Glenn.
Congratulations, Judge Bean. I want to say I was wrong about you, and I'll have to come to Langtry sometime and see how you conduct that court of yours.
Well, I sure hope you do, Judge Parks. Give me a chance to get that $50 back.
of the thundering herd. It's so real I can feel of a friend word. So I know I must go to the land of the Pecos, there to stay